Hey again, I am continuing this video series on addiction and trauma and how the two are connected. Certainly were for me. Today's video is a big one, so I'm barely going to scratch the surface, but let's start talking about and asking some questions so that we can learn what you need to be paying attention to. That's something you can only answer for yourself, but I can ask the questions and you get to answer them. So we're talking about trauma and addiction and emotions, more specifically the limbic system in the brain. When I say limbic system, you don't need to know the brain areas, all right? Very simply, it's a collection of three little brain areas. The amygdala is like the fire alarm. The hippocampus is how we consolidate memory, how we remember what we should be afraid of, what we should be angry about, things like that. And then there's the nucleus accumbens, which just gets us moving. It's activating. It's how we respond to the emotion. These three little brain structures work automatically all the time. Even when you're sleeping and dreaming, you have emotions in your dreams, right? So all the time they're working. And here's the takeaway that you really need to know. Trauma dysregulates them. So your emotions are not the true north compass that you think they are, all right? If you're following what you feel and everything you feel is like so important and so real to you and you think that it's an accurate reflection of your world, you're gonna be in for a lot of heartache in your recovery. For myself, I needed to learn that there's a lot of emotions, a lot of feelings I had that I needed to learn to ignore or just not take so seriously. Like take anxiety, for example. Anxiety is the perfect example because it's a misaligned survival response. Anxiety, if I run into a bear in the woods, is perfectly reasonable. It's protecting me. My body's getting ready for a fight or run away. Yeah, makes sense. But anxiety does not make sense if I have to go to the grocery store or answer a phone call from a debt collector or go to a job interview. Those things are not life or death, but my body reacts and my mind and emotions react as if it's life and death, right? So I need to know that those emotions are misaligned. The response is incorrect. Same thing with depression. Depression made me feel like my life was hopeless. I was worthless. There's no way I could ever get better. There's no way things would ever go well for me. That's what my depression made me feel. 100%, it felt like it was true. Here I am, not true. Not a word of it was true. So your feelings can be wrong. Know that. Right now, your feelings are wrong. Sometimes you want to quit when you shouldn't. Sometimes you want to keep going when you shouldn't. You have to learn to analyze and interrogate your feelings. And so just knowing that trauma messes with the way you feel things kind of gives you the permission to just step back and not take everything that happens to you so seriously. All right? Trauma makes us feel lonely and afraid or rejected or nervous. We don't need to. Now, these feelings are very real and you got to learn ways to deal with them. And that kind of goes back to breath work and recognize and respond, everything I've been talking about in all my videos. But first and foremost, just know that your emotions are wrong all the time. And so we need to start paying attention to which ones are causing us trouble and which ones we need to work with and which ones are working just fine and we can keep them. All right. So here's a few of the highlights when it comes to trauma. You're going to be very sensitive to rejection. All right. You're going to be very worried about what other people are thinking of you. Okay. You're going to feel like you're no good. You're going to be very critical of yourself. These are just some of the big ones that I've dealt with the most. Of course, there's more. And then there's the run-of-the-mill anxiety and depression and hopelessness and all that. It's all a big mess. So how do you sort through it? Well, you got to start paying attention. If you haven't done so already, get a book. Get a notebook, start writing this stuff down, and just answer this question. Write it down, and then write down underneath it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Pay attention for 1 week. And what emotion causes you the most trouble? Which one is the worst for you? Maybe it's anger, maybe it's anxiety, maybe it's loneliness, maybe it's feeling like you never stack up, like you're comparing yourself to everybody and you always feel less than, inadequate. Okay? Whatever it is for you, pay attention to it and just kind of jot down when you're feeling it and how strong it is. That's a good place to start. So you got your notebook, you got a little journal going. Write down when I feel, fill in the blank, inadequate. Today I felt not good enough because I did this thing, and the feeling of inadequacy was a 4 out of 10, and it lasted for 5 minutes. Okay? All we're doing here is flexing the muscles of our system 2. right? That conscious, deliberate thought that helps us pay attention and analyze the things that are going on. The anxiety, the emotions, it's all automatic. That all belongs to the system 1. So we need to use our system 2 to start, looking at it and start asking whether or not we need to be feeling that way. So first identify which emotions causing you the most trouble. And then as we continue on, you can start to find ways to fight that, ways to reverse what trauma is doing to you. And that's the beautiful part about all of this, is the brain is plastic. Not like microplastic, but plastic as in it can change, it can mold, it can be reshaped. You are not stuck with the way you're feeling right now forever. You can change your habits of thought, you can change your habits of feeling, you can build new, better habits. So eventually we can start to recognize where your emotions are going wrong. We can start to work on those and changing them so that you feel better, and it'll turn into a long-lasting habit so that you can actually have some relief from this endless torment of anxiety, depression, rejection, loneliness, all that stuff. I used to feel those things a lot, and I don't really anymore, all right? And there are a lot of layers to this topic, so we are gonna go deeper, but for now, get that notebook, write down which emotions are causing you the most trouble, and then right at the top of that page, just write, not everything you feel is as real as it feels. All right, take some comfort in that. All right, until next time.